Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrasham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev. Bella, are you able to share screen?
Yes, Brahmaraji. Just 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah.
It was the third Shatka, right?
Yeah, I think we read the 32nd verse. 32nd, 33rd verse. So it is part 4.
Yes, past part 4, right. Yeah, part 4 and 32nd you said, Kshetragna, I think.
Yeah, we stopped at this. We had to read the table and all that. I just read maybe one paragraph. We can start from here.
Yes.
Maybe you can chant and Sumaji is joined in. She can probably read.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So it is from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 32 and 33, and from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 30, verse 2 and 3. Sumaji, I'll just chant the shlok and you can continue to read the text.
Okay.
Dhanyavad. Idam shariram kaunaya kshetramithyabhidhiyate etadyotitam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvita kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetrajnayor jnanam yajnanam matam mama. Yatat jnanam matam matamama kshetra kshetragnayor jnanam yatat jnanam matam mama. Kshamyatam for.
O Kaunteya, this Shariram is said to be Kshetram. The knower of this is said to be Kshetrajna, by those who know that, the Kshetram. O Bharata, know me, O Bharata, know me to be the Kshetrajna in all Kshetras. My opinion is Jnanam is that which knows Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Arjuna wanted to know the import of 6 items. These are Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetram, Kshetrajna, Jnanam and Neyam. Among these, Prakriti and Kshetram are synonymous, and so too are Purusha and Kshetrajna. Bhagavan in this chapter starts his teaching with Kshetram, mentions a Mahavakya and gives, you have to raise this, and gives the gist of Jnanam through verse 3, covers Jnanam and Neyam elaborately, and finally winds up with Kshetrajna. In verses 13.2 and 13.3, we have a couplet of shlokas, in both of which the terms Kshetram and Kshetrajna are embedded as though they are mutually complementary terms. Because Bhagavan said, Idam Kshetram, this body, in the second verse, we have to provincially.
It is idam shariram.
Sorry, Idam Shariram. Sorry, because Bhagavan said, Idam Shariram, this body. In the second verse, we have to provisionally, though, take it as the human body, which is considered to be Kaludharma Sadhanam, the very means for all dharmas. As per the Shastra, it is only through the human body that self-realization can be attained. This is for whom? It is not for the indweller of the Kshetra, the very Jiva. This realization for the ignorant Jiva is nothing but the rediscovery that the Jiva is indeed the Kshetrajna.
So,
I'll repeat this.
yeah, kindly.
This is for whom? Is it not for the indweller of the Kshetra, the very Jiva? This self-realization for the ignorant Jiva is nothing but the rediscovery that the Jiva is indeed the Kshetrajna. And this is possible by proper deployment of the implement, the body, the idam shariram, for accomplishment of the desired objective, the attainment of Kshetrajna. You want to add anything, Belaji?
No, Sumaji, it is very clear. Yeah. If anyone wants us to repeat, then they can let us know. Otherwise, I think it's very nice, very well read.
Okay. In the second line of this verse, Bhagavan deftly portrays that the knower of this Kshetram is Kshetrajna. Thus, say that the Tat Vidaha, one meaning would be in this context, the knowers of Kshetram, and another meaning perhaps can be knowers of Tat, Sat, in the Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi. Bhagavan, through the verses 13.6 and 7, elaborates the constituents of Kshetram, all of which are the products of Maya or Prakriti, and as such, Asat. The above two verses lead us to the meaning of Idam Shariram, the microcosm, as indeed Idam Jagat, the macrocosm, or the entire universe, which includes the bodies of you, I, and all other bodies too. Essentially, there are only three things, that is, Idam, Jiva, and Ishvara, or Idam, Jagat, Tvam. Tvam is the Jiva, and Tat is the Ishvara. Thus, the three things can be said to be Jagat, Jiva, and Ishvara, or simply Jagat, Tvam, and Tat. But as per the Shastra and the Gita, the Jagat is Asat. For the Gita, especially the third shloka, teaches the identity of Tvam and Tat. See, for example, verses 7th chapter, 18 shloka, and 13th chapter, 13 shloka. Thus, would you want to read that? 7.18 and 13.3. Shloka.
Brahmaraji had told us to just read the main shloka. If everyone wants, then I can read, no problem.
Okay. Okay. So the third shloka teaches the identity of Tvam and Tat. Thus, if we dismiss the Idam, the Jagat, which includes our Shariram as Asat, and equate Tvam with Tat, then we will be left with only the Jiva, which is none other than Ishvara. The process of Neti Neti Bhavana, not this sequence of negating with all that we are not. Properly thinking and assimilating such knowledge would help understanding who we really are, and this indeed is the propellant for self-enquiry. That seems to be the import of the next verse, which has the Mahavakya, Kshetrajnanam, Kshetrajnanam Chapimam, Vidhi Sarva Kshetrashu Bharata. Did I read it correctly?
Yeah, of course, Kshetragnam Chapimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata.
Kshetrajnam Chapimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. In this verse, Bhagavan mentioned two very important things. He is the Kshetrajna, the knower of the Kshetra, and is also and in all Kshetras. The knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajna is indeed Jnanam. One of the six queries of Arjuna.
Yeah, I hope you're able to recall the Purush Prakriti, Kshetra Kshetrajna, and Gnan Gneyam. Those 6 queries.
Yeah. The Kshetra may be the human bodies, the animal bodies, the bodies of all other species, the mountains, the rivers, the ocean, the space, the air, the fire, the earth, or even Earth-like other heavenly bodies, planets, the suns, stars, galaxies. In fact, anything that is visible, cognizable, or even vaguely imaginable. This is the Kshetras. All the Kshetras are Asat, and as such are dependent, like even the dream depends on the dreamer, and as such negatable, whereas the Kshetrajna, the knower of the Kshetra, is independent, and though obtaining in all Kshetras is one, which is the truth. The kshetras are perishable, while the kshetrajna is unborn, ancient, beginningless, and everlasting. One way of getting rooted in this knowledge is to, we'll have to raise, is to compare and contrast kshetra and kshetrajna all the time. Assimilate such knowledge and contemplate on the import of the teaching thus. So the kshetras are many and varied. Kshetrajna is one and invariable. Kshetra is asat, kshetrajna is sat. Kshetra is apparent and dependent. Kshetrajna is real and independent. Kshetra is perishable. Kshetrajna is imperishable. Kshetra born has both beginning and end. Kshetrajna is unborn, beginningless, and everlasting. Kshetras have unique qualities and are various. Kshetrajna quality less and the one in all kshetras. Kshetras are destructible. Kshetrajna is indestructible. Kshetra is jadam, inert, and no cognition of own existence. Kshetrajna is chaitanyam, the witness and the awareness. Kshetra is always changing and agitated. Kshetrajna, changeless and shantam. Kshetra, parishchinnaha, limited in space and time. Kshetrajna is aparichinnaha, all-pervading and limitless. Kshetram, the object, the illumined. Kshetrajna, the very subject, the very illuminator of all. Kshetra is samsara. Kshetrajna, the witness of all the very samsara. Kshetra is kinchi jnanaha. Kinchi jnanaha, a little knowing.
Kinchignaha.
Kinchignaha.
Kinchignaha sarvagnaha. That is the opposite.
Kinchignaha, little knowing. Ajnani is ignorant. Kshetrajna is sarvajnanaha, all knowing. Jnani, omniscient. And the list can be endless. The knowledge that helps make the clear, unambiguous, and doubtless distinction between the kshetra and kshetrajna, and also the knowledge that helps root one in the kshetrajna, is considered to be jnanam by Bhagavan. The one who gains this jnanam is also considered to be none other than Bhagavan. Jnani tattvamaiva me matam. Jnani tattvamaiva me matam.
Jnani tu atmaiva me matam.
Okay. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. It is little wonder that Bhagavan Ramana, the Jnani, liked this couplet of verses as part of the I don't know what that is.
Dwichatvarimshat.
Okay.
So we kept wondering I think once long back, Dr. Mara had this question, what is this jnanam that we're talking about? Especially when we were doing Atma Bodh, they say it is only through knowledge that you will recognize nothing of what we do. No karma will lead us to the goal. It is only through knowledge. So the knowledge that is being defined here is knowledge of the kshetram and the kshetrajna. That is knowledge. So the one who knows kshetram and kshetrajna.
Nanaji also had added it is the very means to attain the kshetrajna, right?
So in all our karmas, we must have this at the back of the mind. That's when the maturity of the mind happens, no? Through purification.
Which is why even Gurudev had mentioned, no amount of your sadhana will lead you to self-realization. Nothing of what you do, capital D-O, do, will take you there. It is all about knowing. It's all about recognizing. So all the sadhana will only help prepare the mind for it. So a karma yogi, by definition, a karma yogi is one who does fulfills his dharma, his duty, plus he, on the side, he also pursues knowledge. Otherwise, he will only be an ethical person who's just following.
No. Karma yogi is one who's doing the karma with this knowledge as the basis of his action.
That's what I'm saying. Karma yogi, it includes someone who follows knowledge as well. He does his job as a karma yogi, as a karma yogi. That is, he does his duty, whatever needs to be done, he does with that prasada buddhi, and he takes the result as a with prasada buddhi. But he also pursues the shastra for this knowledge. Whereas an ethical person is just following, he's only leading a dharmic life to the exclusion of knowledge. So that is the difference between an ethical person and a karma yogi.
Yeah.
Brahmaraji, here parichinnaha means it is mortal, and aparichinnaha is ananta, immortal. Can we say that, or there is some other meaning? Parichinnaha, it is mortal.
Parichinnaha is actually, parichinnaha I think is limited in space. It's something that you can separate, divide. That is the one, parichinnaha, which is why it is said limited in space and time. And aparichinnaha is something that is complete, full, whole.
Okay. So here,
which is why it is mentioned
vibhajya.
all pervading and limitless.
Yeah. So parichinna, maybe it is like vibhajan kar sakte
Correct.
hai, and aparichinna, avibhajya.
Yeah.
Okay. Dhanyavada.
That destructible, indestructible comes earlier. That
yeah, it is in the 7th point. Correct.
7th point. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. This is very beautifully made by Nanaji. So, I mean, easy to.
Jai Gurudev, it is mentioned, isn't this that it is one of the 6 queries of Arjuna? So did Nanaji discuss about the queries of Arjuna? Like what in total Gita?
Yeah, it was just the Jnanam. Nanaji had said that Jnanam, the rest of the things are here. But about Jnanam, Nanaji had told that it is the very means through which you can know Kshetrajna. But we can definitely discuss Purush Prakriti since they are one of the Prakriti. We can just recall that verse where it is, which is which sense objects, then objects.
The knowledge of
just
Kshetra
recall.
and Kshetrajna, that is one of the query of Arjuna, right? And besides it, like what are the other queries? Like it is the summing up of Gita, I think, no?
Correct. Yeah.
Then,
so these are the 6 terms we discuss.
Yeah. because the Prakriti, Guna and all comes later. Krishna talks about all that. So Nanaji has put it all together, I think. These 6 queries.
Yeah, they are very important for our sadhak. Prakriti, as per my little knowledge, it is Mashraya Maya. And Purusha is Atma. This is the ultimate, above the Mahat Tattva also, right? That's what was told.
It is, I think, in between, like when Arjun questions Krishna, in between various verses, it is that those the main questions of like inquiry are there related to self-knowledge, which is being mentioned here, I think.
I think, see, in the 13th chapter, in some of the texts of Bhagavad Gita, the first shloka is Arjuna's query. What is Purusha? What is Prakriti? What is Kshetram? What is Kshetrajna? What is Jnanam? And what is Jneyam? So this
Yes.
is, in some texts, this is the starting verse of chapter 13. But in some texts, like I think the Gita Press does not have that. So this question that Arjuna has is based on that one, the first shloka that is included in some texts. That is why they say Bhagavad Gita has 701 shlokas. In some texts it is only 700, in some it is 701. This is the reason, and I think it's only a factual thing.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like Nanaji has mentioned 6 that this knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajna is indeed Jnanam, and in bracket it is written one of the 6 queries of Arjuna.
Yeah, that one of the 6 queries is based on
yeah.
this one sentence, one shloka, that
one shloka.
he opens it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was
Purusham Chaiva
yeah.
Kshetra. I will send that shloka which is included in some texts. Yeah.
Okay. Rest 5 queries, I was wanting to know what are the 5 queries of Arjuna. This is one,
I think we read that, no, in the beginning of this verse. We read that the 6 queries of Arjuna were enumerated.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it is Purusha.
Yeah, within the bracket
Prakriti.
also it says 13:1. It's not in
Yeah,
there.
it is.
Yeah.
So it is what is Prakriti, what is Purusha.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Kshetram,
Right.
Kshetrajna, and Jnanam, Jneyam. These are the 6 queries.
These are the 6. Okay. Right. Thank you.
And very important to remember, Prakriti or Maya is Sat.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, you were here, Sumaji? Just
a little down, essentially from there.
Bela, let me know till when you can continue to share.
Yeah,
I'm all right to share.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, I will let you know. Right now it is, I think we essentially,
34,
yeah,
verse 34.
which essentially state that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you come down a little more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. It is as though Kshetrajna is renamed as Parameshwara. Maybe you should read this.
Yeah. I think we missed the shloka. Yeah. Chapter 13. Yeah. So from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 34, and from chapter 13, verse 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyasva vinashyantam yah pashyati sa pashyati.
Parameshwara, non-destructible amongst the destructible, resides equally in all. Whoever knows this is the seer. It is as though Kshetrajna is renamed as Parameshwara, the supreme Ishvara. The prefix Param to Ishvara may be poetic excellence in this verse. It is now good to recall the verses 2.17 and 18, which essentially state that understand that Tat, which pervades everything, is indestructible, and these bodies, kshetras, have an end, destructible, while the indweller of the bodies, kshetrajna, is everlasting, indestructible, and the very subject. Parameshwara, the kshetrajna, being one and invariable, resides equally in all. Ishvara or kshetrajna, who is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Sat or truth, Chit or Jnanam, and Anantam, Anandam or Anantam, bliss and eternal, can only be one, indivisible and invariable. This is so because any division or multiplicity in Ishvara will not only render Ishvara as parichinnaha or limited, which contradicts the very Ananta Swarupa of Ishvara, but also renders Ishvara as Asat. One Ishvara knowing or limiting the other Ishvara, and as such, one Ishvara becoming an object of the other Ishvara, hence both becoming objects which are perishable, and as such, Asat, as all objects are. Consider what is said in that
Dwichatvarimshat.
verses 33, 13.3 and 34, 13.28.
Yeah.
Part of the verse 33.
Kshetragnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram.
Both the parts of the above verses state the same thing. Thus, the essential oneness of everything that we see, cognize or imagine, in a nutshell, the oneness of the essence of the universe, which includes all of us, is beautifully portrayed in the above verses. Despite this, we foolishly entertain such evil qualities like misplaced ego, leading to vanity and pride, jealousy, hatred, anger, and their derivatives, which are all products of just two things, that is, raga dvesha, which are in turn products of ajnana, ignorance. So what is required is jnana, knowledge, to elevate ourselves to the state of Parameshwara. If only we convert the raga of everything else to Kshetrajna or Parameshwara, and the dvesha of everything else as though to the world of objects, then our lives will have been fruitfully lived, and we would have a chance of rediscovering the Bhagavan in us. Bhagavan Ramana lived a life untouched by raga dvesha, and as such was fond of this verse 34. This is very nice, no? To divert
Absolutely.
all
Very
our
profound.
ragas to Parameshwara.
And it's such a revelation when everybody has the same tattva running in and through, that oneness is there. How silly is it for us to get angry, upset, feel jealous, hurt, feel hurtful with respect to others, isn't it? Such a silly thing. I mean, it seems so frivolous actually. But all our life we get caught up with that. And we're so entangled in that.
Yeah, all our lives. It may not be just this life.
Mm. So we've been troubling the world and getting troubled. We've been entangling ourselves with the world and getting entangled. And how much of our mental space is occupied by thoughts of, oh, he said this, or she said that, and this is what happened. And so unnecessary. It is such a revelation. I mean, you just step aside, and with that light of knowledge, if you can look at all of this, it is just the play and display of consciousness, like is said is mentioned by Gurudev. That is one thing. One aspect is to direct your dvesha towards the world of objects, but rather than dvesha, rather than what Gurudev converts that into is celebrate. He says, celebrate life. So then you derive joy, you not derive joy, you're joyful at every moment. You're celebrating it. You're not in that negative frame of mind. You're not getting lost in that negative spiral.
Brahmaraji, so here, dvesha of everything, it means that indriya vinigraha, we can say.
Yeah, it is like you have a control over your senses. Like Dhamma, no? It is Dhamma, exercise of Dhamma.
Very beautifully explained, Brahmaraji. Very nice.
It is like in earlier shloka we read, no, that when happiness is there inside you, then you don't seek happiness outside. So if you're not seeking happiness outside, then the raga dvesha would not be there. It's only that due to us seeking for happiness that we land into raga dvesha. Otherwise, raga dvesha will, yeah.
Yeah, one is raga dvesha and the other is yoga and kshema. If these two we can keep in mind and surrender our yoga and kshema to Bhagwan. So you take care of the yoga and kshema. I will just do my part. I'll do my duty. Then there's such a relief. The problem is we think we are in control of our yoga and kshema and that we are responsible for that.
Yeah.
We are responsible, of course, to this shariram is kaludharma sadhanam. So this sharira we have to use to fulfill our duties, responsibilities, no doubt, while pursuing knowledge. That is all we need to do. Then we forget about our yoga and kshema. The problem is we think we are the author of our yoga and kshema.
Jai Gurudev, can you please explain yoga and kshema? Must have missed it.
Yeah, yoga is apraptasya prapanam. That is what you do not have. Acquiring what you do not have is yoga. And praptasya rakshanam is kshema, which is you protect whatever you have acquired. For instance, you want money. You don't have money and therefore you are engaged in activities that acquire money. That becomes yoga. Yogam, not yoga, yogam that is. And then kshemam is once you've got the money, you'll have to take care of it. See that it doesn't get stolen. You secure it in a bank, things like that. So that is the kshema. So what Bhagwan says in the chapter 9, 22nd verse is Ananyas chintayanto mam ejanaf paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. He says those people who with that eka bhakti, they are devoted to me and direct all their focus towards me, I will take care of their yoga and kshema.
And how different it is from your karma?
Huh?
Karma yoga, how different it is? Yoga
How
or yoga?
different? Yeah. See, karma yoga, we are doing, we're doing our duties not for happiness, but out of happiness. That is the difference. Whereas in this yogam, when you're pursuing yogam, it is for happiness. It is for something. You get this, therefore you'll be happy. That is yogam. That is being an akarma yogi. Whereas a karma yogi, he does everything with that sense of fulfillment, that sense of happiness. He's already happy, but he has to fulfill his duty. Therefore, he's doing it.
Thank you.
The thing is, we get caught up in our yoga and kshema all the time. It might be money, it may be fame, it might be, you're protecting your own ego. In a small little argument that you have with, say, your spouse or your friend, whoever, in that argument, you're so caught up in holding on to your point. I'm talking of, in an argument, if people are having a vivada. So the whole thing about kshemam is to protect your ego. How often do we get caught up in that? No, we hold on to our point of view. This is right. This is right. That is also a subtly a form of exercise of kshema. So dropping all of that to him, let him take care. I am not concerned about yoga and kshema. He is there to take care. That gives us such a sense of relief, such total freedom from. Otherwise, all our life will be ending, we'll end up pursuing this and not knowing that, just dropping that gives us such a liberated feeling. I think we can continue. Yeah.
You have to raise the.
Yeah, I'll just.
Here little bit out of context, but I wanted to mention this, that just how much we give our time and mind to media inputs, and the impact and the impressions of it, which means for a sadhak it is a little bit troublesome. Yesterday night only we were watching some serial, typical serial, and the impressions were so strong that my Nanaji, my grandfather, died already 35 years. But the whole this episode of yesterday, what I watched, and then my Nanaji, my grandfather, and something full dream I saw. So we need to be very careful about what we are taking in through the five senses, especially for the sadhaks, and doing our regular sadhana and meditation sahaj is so important. These are small things, but see how deep impressions they create, what we are taking in through the five senses. Need to be a little bit more and more careful now.
That is why when you do your Nitya Naimittika karma, then your 24 hours or the wakeful time that you have is occupied by you performing these, and therefore we will not end up including these so-called wasteful things into our life. For instance, if you have taken chanting the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, you want to do one shatka or you want to do the whole Bhagavad Gita every day. Just imagine those 2.5 hours that it takes to chant the whole Gita. You are not doing anything else. You're not doing social media. You're not watching some serial on TV, or the mind is occupied there. So
it all depends on only when we have leisure, when we don't have anything to do, that we go on to all of this. No, so if our wakeful state is filled up with this nitya karma that we have taken up on ourselves, that much less, like what you have just explained, that much less will we be affected by them. No
Very
doubt,
beautiful.
social media is abundant with so much of information, unnecessary. So often it is unnecessary. There are useful things, of course, no doubt. Social media has both sides to it. But then again, it is all about us exercising our discretion. For us, especially, I can share that since both Prem and I, we're still chanting only one chapter every day, but that commitment to chant that one chapter is taken away. Otherwise, maybe we would have just sat and watched something on TV. That is not happening at all. So it is like we have dinner and then we chant the chapter and that's it. So I think slowly and surely, with a little change in our lifestyle and our habits and what we include in our leisure time, I think that will make a big difference.
Thank you so much, Brahmaraji. Very beautiful sharing.
Spiritual life needs a very strict discipline, and it takes only 3 days to come back to square one, not more than that. We keep on experiencing this, that as soon as there is some delay or some postponement of things, your sadhana comes back to zero. So it is a consistent effort and disciplining yourself and your mind that will help you to evolve faster. This is, but our fickle minds, they do entrap. Like in my house, my husband's nephew is there, his wife. So 2-3 days it's been so disturbing that sleeping late night and not able to get up at 4. So from 2-3 days, my sadhana is also not going so well that was initially. So it happens, but you cannot do anything, no. If you're sleeping at 12 or 1, you can't get up at 4. So it happens, but it doesn't worry, because we'll again be back on the track as soon as the situation will be that we'll be back to normal routine. It happens, but yeah, we have to be more vigilant what we watch on the television, because it becomes sometimes very monotonous when you doing the same thing, same routine. Sometimes you want a break. So what I do is I just watch once a while a comedy movie. That's all, because these are so light movies that you and they have a message to convey. So you don't have that impressions on your mind in your meditation the next day. And if you do some chanting or say Gita chapter chanting or jap, it makes your mind back to like normal state. Then you don't have those impressions the next day. This I was also experiencing it. I've stopped watching. I don't watch news. I just watch maybe in 15-20 days or maybe in a month a movie, that just for a break. Otherwise, if you start watching it, then like you feel yourself that these what we are watching, they are disturbing our thoughts. And
I
when
have a
you start
suggestion.
meditate,
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Doctor.
No, you
Savitri.
carry on. I'm
No. I just wanted to give you one suggestion. Was on Netflix. I saw one called Live to 100. Not that we want to live to 100, but there is one guy who did research like for last 20 years about he goes to places where people are living longer, and it's kind of nice, and that research thing. So I kind of connect that with the we say this samas loka samasta sigino bhavantu, like that. So I think I would recommend, if you guys are wishing to watch something on the TV, on Netflix, this one is good. You can see it. Live to 100, and it
Yeah,
gives
you
you
can
for the
watch.
life.
Yeah, like you, if you have some takeaways that would help you to grow,
Yeah,
we should
this
watch.
is
And it
about
gives
this
us a
American
break also.
lifestyle, which we are doing, like the spiritual. One of the thing is about the spiritual satsangs and how you connect with each other, and that also one of the thing in terms of having the longevity. I mean, like social connection. It's not just a diet and exercise part. So that one, I thought it's nice, But then, if you wanted to see what other places, what other kind of cultures do, um, it kind of interesting to see it. But again, I'm not trying to deviate you guys from anything else that you're doing, but I thought I suggest you this.
It should not become an addiction that if you are following a serial and you've missed one part, you should not have that in your mind that, oh, I missed that serial, what would happen now? So that is, you are getting stuck there.
Binding
So
desire versus non-binding desire.
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
Okay to
exactly.
have
Yes,
So
non-binding desires.
yeah, it's actually, the more we are doing this, you don't want to watch anything, like you can't even sit there, like if it's something violent or something is going on, you don't, I mean, at least, you don't feel like sitting there at all, so it's something lighter, like you said, that's okay. But then, you want to have a break or take your mind off, or sometimes it's not like you can routinely do something like that. But I just thought I'll suggest something. Yeah.
Social media and all these other things that we watch are like fast food to our mind.
Yeah.
We, once in a while it's okay maybe, but when you have fast food every day, it affects your whole system. So because food, according to Ayurveda, is not just what we eat, not just the physical food that we eat. Anything, any input into the senses, be it from the ears, the eyes, touch, smell, any of this, taste also becomes food. So, and our mind is what we eat. So what we eat through our eyes, through our ears, becomes important. See, supposing you're part of a gossip that is talking ill of someone else, there's some backbiting happening, you feel so nauseous. But then for some people, that is very, it is very attractive, unfortunately.
With rasa, they say, no? You have the
Yeah,
trust for it.
yeah. So that is it. So we'll continue. We're on verse 35. No, one second. Let me Yeah,
Mm.
share. I'll just
Yeah.
the verse. Yatha sarvatam saukshmya akasham nupalipyate sarvatravasthito dehe tathatmanupalipyate. It is from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 35, and from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 30, verse 33. Sumaji, I will, shall I continue?
Okay.
Just as the all-pervading Akasha, owing to its being subtle, is not tainted by what it accommodates, so too Atma, which pervades all bodies in all their states, is not tainted by what Atma pervades. The one sun is reflected differently in different pots of water. The pots may be differing in size, material, beauty, value, and the like. Further, the pots may contain different qualities, quantities of water, and based on the above pots and their contents, the reflections of the sun could be various and varied. This does not in any way affect the sun and taint it. So too, the Akasha, which is all pervading, beginningless and endless, and which accommodates everything, including all of us in the universe, is not tainted by what it accommodates. A dark object cannot render the Akasha dark. Neither would a brilliant object render the Akasha brilliant. A lame person cannot make it lame. Neither would a sprinter render it any faster. Akasha does not move because of its all-pervading nature. There is no room for it to move. The fragrance of the flower cannot make it fragrant. Neither the sewage waters render it foul. The tiny atom cannot make it any insignificant. Neither would a massive galaxy render it expansive. In like manner, Atma or Kshetrajna or Parameshwara, which obtains in all the bodies, Kshetras, in all their states of being, is not affected or tainted by the qualities of the bodies or Kshetras. Atma remains in its glory as ever, like even Bhagavan Ramana, to whom this verse was dear. I just wanted to share one thing here when it was described the different pots, different qualities, color, even the water in them is different. You know, here there was a basic doubt that I would always have when pairs of opposites are also Bhagwan. I mean, he runs in and through everybody, good and bad. Then why do we have to pursue good? Why do we have to be on the path of goodness? So here I seem to have got the answer here in the sense only if you have pots which have different qualities of water. There is clean water and there's dirty water. The reflection of the sun is visible clearly only in the clean pot, not in the pot that has dirty water. Similarly, a person who's bad, who's evil, is like the pot with dirty water. The mind is not pure. So the reflection of the sun is clear only in the pot that has clear water. I just thought I'll share this kind of understanding, which is
Yes.
why
So with the one like the same manner, but I mean, I can hear it mentioned about Akasha, but the other explanation, I thought they compare this to the sun. You know, the sun um, is the brightness or the brilliance is not affected by any of this, where it illuminates everything, right? And the same way
correct.
the Atma illuminates the inner, I mean, the being, like the person. So, what is it called that? I forgot what I meant to tell you. Basically, there is this connection with that Gayatri mantra, you know, where it says that you're connecting that energy from outside to inside.
Mm.
and it spread all over, like all uh, and you want to, like you mentioned the other day also, enlighten us, like rather than telling
It's a
all
collective
inclusive.
prayer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all inclusive.
Mm.
So again, overcoming all the three avasthas that you mentioned, right? That Om Pur Bhuvaga Swaha, that
Saviturvari.
it's so meaningful, that mantra. Um, I had, every day in our house, this tape, I put it in the morning, it will go on and on. And today I happened to listen to that explanation of the Gayatri Mantra, and then it will keep on chanting Gayatri Mantra. No, I chant along with it mostly, but then sometimes, I turn it on and I go about doing other work. Uh, but then it's so nicely explained.
Mm.
I thought that also goes along with this sloka. I mean, like Akasha, nothing taints it. Like also you mentioned, right, the good and bad. Again, there is nothing good or bad when it comes to the Atma, right? I mean, in terms of that, this good and bad again applies to this Anatma,
Correct.
right?
Mm.
And also that is based on that their own karma that um, causes that kind of division. He doesn't do that.
Mm.
Parameshwara doesn't really showing, okay, you're a good person, you're a bad person, like that, right? He's all pervading. He's not showing any indifference in that manner. But the person who's having that kind of swabhava, that they got that from their previous karma or whatever that impressions.
These pairs of opposites are inevitable in the universe. It's like a wave. When you have a
Right.
wave, there is an
Yeah.
up, there is a trough as
There's
well as a
upper,
down,
yeah, whatever
up and
goes up,
down.
going to
So
go
it
down. Yeah.
come
Yeah.
down. No, so
Yeah.
these are they are ingrained in the universe, in creation.
Yeah. So that is why the whole thing is subject to change, so nothing is permanent. So yeah, whatever it's it, this shall pass, like it's good, good or bad, good times,
That is
bad
why we
times.
have to cross above that is why it's called Dvatita. The one
Dwelling.
Jnani is beyond the pairs of opposites. So the
Okay.
pairs of opposites do not affect him. So this Akasha, the sun that they're talking about, is
Right.
they're like above the pairs of opposites. Whether it is good, bad, whether the water is clean or not clean, whether there is there is something that is dark or brilliant. Akasha is not tainted by it because it is
Right.
above the
About that.
pairs of opposites.
Mhm.
It's taintless.
Right. Yeah. So that one part is about that illumination, nothing detains it. But the other part, when you said that, you mentioning about there is good thing and bad thing, why God has created like that, right?
Mm.
Uh, for that, I felt it, like that that same question, came to us, our mind, right? Why there are so many evil people, like they create havoc in the whole world, right? And when you think of it, they are, it's not he wants them to do that kind of stuff, like it's more of like balancing act, maybe,
Of course it is.
yeah.
See, otherwise, see, it is ingrained in creation.
Yeah.
When a plant is growing, there are hormones that allow the plant to grow.
Right.
There are also hormones that inhibit the growth of plant. Otherwise, you'll have every plant is just growing, growing, growing. It's only
Yeah.
positive. Then they will reach the sky. There are
Yeah.
some, they're called inhibins. These inhibins actually inhibit the growth of the plant. So it curtails, it controls the rate of growth, and every plant has a height that it reaches. So this is all ingrained in nature. Same
Yeah.
with human beings. We would grow forever. I mean, if the growth hormone was the only thing that was there, but there's a beautiful um, uh, regulation of these hormones. Negative feedback loop is there in everything that
Yeah, right.
there in creation.
In- yeah, you're right. All our hormones have that not
Negative feedback,
biofeedback.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that keeps everything in check. You very rightly said it creates that balance within.
Mm.
And it goes on. That's why it is circular. The whole thing is very circular. Same thing with life and death. If you look at extrapolated to
Yeah.
life and death, if people were only to live, nobody dies, the physical
Mhm.
body that is, then there will be only life. People will continue to be there. So
Yeah,
unless you die, where is this balance happening?
right, right.
That's why it's very circular, spherical, all of this. But
Mm.
Atma is above all of this. Atma um, is above these pairs of organs.
Yeah, like that
Only in the Jagat.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, the consciousness, to you wonder, like we read the Vibhuti Yoga, like everything you see, you wonder, oh my God, this is so wonderful. Like that's how this Vibhuti is, like how there is one about Deepak Chopra. I'll send you that link. He made like seven laws or something like that, seven things to follow. Um, it's about a book. I don't know if she said it in English or in Tamil, but I'll send that to you guys, so you can listen to it. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's all in a nutshell, like what we are reading and doing
Mm.
things. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
And when you apply this verse 35 to our own body,
Mm,
no matter
mm,
what is going on in your body, you may have had a good thought or a not so good thought, but you are
mm-hmm,
like the Akasha. You are not tainted by that. Problem is we identify ourselves and then start either feeling very elated or we start feeling guilty. Oh, why did I get this
mm-hmm.
thought? So if we are able to disconnect that neti with that bhavana, if we are able to see, step behind, go one step back and see that all this is just happening there in that anatma, then we will not be affected. We will not be affected by our past, which is what Gurudev has been saying. No matter how miserable your past is, just drop it. It is just, I think that it's just like a bad dream. Can you drop it? Because otherwise, so often, what we do now, right now in the present, is influenced by our past, our judgments, prejudices, our impressions of people. You know, if we were just if we were able to relate to people like a 6-month old baby relates. A 6-month old baby is so full of joy. He's fine with everybody, strangers as well as his own family members, his parents. If we are able to relate to people like that, rather than put labels and say, oh, this person is bad, that person is. Again, I'm not saying you should not use your viveka there. Don't become so gullible. But what I'm saying, coming from that space of innocence, so often we get caught up with our prejudices. So she'll move on to verse 36. This is from chapter 14, verse 25. Manapamanayostulyah tulyamitraripakshyoh sarvarambha parityagi gunatitasya uchyate. Whoever takes praise and censure, so too friends and foes equally, and whoever has given up all undertakings is said to be Gunatita. This is one of the verses from Bhagwan in reply to Arjuna's query regarding Gunatita, the one who has sublimated Raga Dvesha, who is free from the clutches of Ahankara, who is devoid of the Kartritva Bhoktritva Bhavanas, who knows that it is the Indriyas which perform all activities, who knows that he is the mere witness for whatever happens around him. Such a person only can have the Samatva Bhavana mentioned in this verse. To be able to treat praise and censure equally, to be able to have the same attitude towards a friend or a foe, is a very significant achievement in one's spiritual life. Besides this, to be in a position to give up all undertakings or to give up the craving towards undertakings would be possible for a person with the above laudable qualities. In this context, it should be clearly understood that giving up all undertakings means giving up all activities with a self-interest, desiring some self-benefit, and not giving up activities for the benefit of mankind. Such a person would act out of happiness and not for it. It is relevant to recall here verse 22 from chapter 3, wherein Bhagavan said that he has nothing required to do in the three worlds. Neither is there anything that he needs to obtain, nor is there anything unobtainable for him. Even then, he would indulge in activities for the benefit of mankind. And such a person like Bhagavan Ramana would doubtless like this verse. So how do we get the Samatva Bhavana? When we disconnect ourselves from that Ahankara, from when we have a say on our Raga Dveshas, when we are free from the Kartritva Bhoktritva Bhavana, then you are able to have that Samatva. Whether it's praise or censure, whether it's a friend or a foe, you have the same equanimity within you. I think the key is the Kartritva Bhoktritva Bhavana, right? So when you give up that doership, and he's in a position to give up all undertakings or to give up the craving towards undertakings. So these undertakings are here for clarity's sake, those that are out of self-interest, more a desire-based thing like, I do this and I will be happy. Those kind of things you drop. Whereas those that benefit mankind, you're doing it out of happiness. So all the seva that we do, even fulfilling your own regular duties, comes into this category.
Then can we say this is yogam? Out of desire, when whatever we do, that is yogam.
Correct.
Yeah. And the karma yoga is...
Karma yoga will come under activities that you do out of happiness. So you're not worried there. You are happy yourself, but you're doing it because you are required to do it. So it's more need-based living rather than desire-based living.
Thanks.
Like if you do not cook food in the house, people will go hungry, right? So there is a need for you to cook food. So that becomes a need-based activity. That's a karma, that's part of your karma yoga. That's part of your swadharma there. Merely out of desire, if you want to do out of self-interest, is you're giving in to your laziness, for instance, and you say, oh, let's just order something from somewhere. Then it becomes more a desire-based thing. You're of course happier eating outside food. So it is more for happiness that you're doing it, not out of happiness. I don't know whether this example is appropriate. It just occurred to me. So I'm sharing, but
but there could be some desires which might be good for the society or for yourself. Those could arise, right? Not out of need,
yeah.
but what do you call them then? Like you must have had a desire to be a teacher. Then what does it come under? Like
That comes under benefit for mankind. No. See, you're becoming a teacher for whom? Not for yourself alone. It is to teach. Teach will help others, will help uplift others. So that
Yeah, as
becomes,
long as it's selfless service, that
yeah.
becomes, yeah.
so that comes under yoga. So do you make any effort towards that, or just uh, mm, let the Bhagwan take care of it? Do you think like that, or you work towards it? If you work towards it, is it not then karma yoga or it's yoga? Because you will be working towards it. You will make some effort towards uh, doing it. You can't just say that this will happen.
Correct. See, even this Manana class that we're attending, that we're all coming together, would you classify it as karma yoga or would you classify it as yoga? We don't have all this knowledge. So apraptasya prapanam is yoga. Will you consider it that way, or would you consider it as part of karma yoga, as the jnana that you're pursuing?
Because there is effort involved here. Getting up early, just logging in,
So
isn't it?
what I think, my understanding, yogam is anything to do with anatma, anything to do with the material world becomes yogam. Anything that is taking you towards Atma Vidya will not be considered yogam there. Yogam is acquiring wealth, acquiring fame, acquiring houses. All of that becomes yogam. There you're fulfilling, you're pumping in your ahankara. That is yogam, right? So this class that we're doing, anything that you do, so including wanting to become a teacher, it is for uplifting yourself and others. So that doesn't come under yogam there. It comes under, it is part of pursuing this Atma Vidya, isn't it? So whatever effort you put in there is part of your karma yoga only.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Isn't it? Anybody else wants to share anything in this regard? Please go ahead. Yeah, Bela says Shreyas and prayers. Very right. So anything which is towards prayers becomes yogam. Anything towards with the material world, anything which is towards Shreyas, the higher path, the path of self-knowledge, becomes the Shreyo Marg. And Bhagwan, in that verse, when he's talking about yogam and kshemam, he's talking of prayers. He says, forget about your prayers. I'm there to take care of it.
Yeah, as long as we are living in this world, you need certain need, right? Like the food, shelter. So to offer that, you do some, you need that yoga, kshamam and all that. But then again, you mentioned, yeah, that pursuing higher knowledge That's the different path, that higher, um what did you call that one? Higher, not a
Prayers,
higher.
prayers,
Yeah,
prayers and prayers. Yeah.
prayers, right? So yeah, so but so whatever, like say, as long as we are doing our own profession, right, what need to be done, right?
Correct.
So continue to take care of your family, or your helping your friend, or whatever that we are doing in the worldly activities. um yeah, they most of it may bring, I mean, good activities bring punya, and if you do anything that can cause papa too, so we accrued that. That's when we go with that karma yoga attitude, to not to accrue those punya and papas, that kind of stuff. So yeah, you summarized it pretty well. That's what I have. um but when, like, for myself, if I'm talking, like, I'm not able to do it continuously in the last at least couple of weeks. And then the end of this month I'm going to go to India, so I don't know how that's going to work out for me. I'm going to miss a lot, but I'm hoping to catch up on the tapes only.
Yeah.
So um so I really kindly request you guys, when you're doing the recording, it'd be nice to have a continuity of it's kind of same pattern. The only problem with this is, like, you don't have a way of looking at the text as well as listening. Some places you only will be able to listen, so I'm just depending on that. Thank you for all of you guys reading and doing it. Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll move further down. Verse 37, chapter 15, verse 5. Nirmana-moharjita-sanga-dosha adhyatma-nitya vinivritta-kamaah द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसङ्गैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्. Free from craving for honor and free from delusion, devoid of the defects of attachment, ever thinking of Atma, free from desires, free from the pairs of opposites like happiness and sorrow, the one who is not a dunce reaches that avyayam padam. That avyayam padam, the ultimate freedom, is attainable provided one is, number one, free from desire to be honored. The desire for honor is born out of inflated ego, which requires to be understood and sublimated with proper, continuous, and adequate efforts. Worth repeating this. Free from the desire to be honored. The desire for honor is born out of inflated ego, which requires to be understood and sublimated with proper, continuous, and adequate efforts.
It is like that when we feel like when we are rather incomplete in ourselves, then we desire honor from others. When you are, that you have that saksham feeling that then you don't require honor from anyone.
Correct. When you are accepted yourself
Yeah.
completely, You don't need acceptance from others in order to feel full.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like, for instance, a small example is if you've shared some post on social media, for example, you just want to share your happiness. Looking for the number of likes, number of comments will be desire for honor. Whereas when you drop it, you just wanted to share with the world that you've experienced something nice. You just share it and leave it. And you're not hooked on to looking at how many likes I have, how many comments I have. Then you have gone above this desire for honor. It requires understanding, proper understanding, continuous and adequate efforts. Second is free from delusion born out of ignorance of oneself. One is born with this delusion, repeated thoughts pertaining to who we are. How did we come into being? What is the meaning of life? Who are our parents, brothers, and sisters? What are we to accomplish? What is death? What is the life after death? Etc. And regular satsang, which would answer the above questions and would help dilute this delusion. So very apt. I mean, we were just discussing about all of this right just a while ago. So this regular satsang is where these answers to the above questions would be answered. You would get these answers. This would help dilute this delusion. So those dirty waters are getting clearer and clearer, so we can see the true reflection of ourselves. Free from attachment, for it leads to misery and binds one firmly in the samsara. Fourth is free from desire for happiness or free from binding desires. 5, free from raga dvesha. These are our real enemies, and hence we must strive to reduce their hold on us and ultimately eliminate them, especially if their effects are binding. 6, free from the pangs of the pairs of opposites like sukha, dukkha, janma, mrityu, shita and ushna, cold and heat, balyam, vardhakyam, childhood, old age, niramaya, amaya, welfare and illness, etc. This is possible by proper understanding and assimilation of such knowledge. In this context, it is good to recall the verse 14th from chapter 2, which clearly states that the pairs of opposites are inevitable. These are non-constant. These are to be understood and patiently sustained during their tenure. I think the verse there is Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino nityaha tam titikshasva bharata tam titikshasva bharata. So we have to forbear these pairs of opposites because they are inevitable. The moment the senses go and contact the sense objects, the pairs of opposites, they spring up. That is inevitable, but they are non-constant. It's not like the misery you're going through will remain forever. That surely has an end. Same with niramaya, amaya, welfare, illness. One cannot be completely healthy all the time. There will be some episodes of illness. So you take it in your stride. Then 7 is free from stupidity and delusion. Verses 55 from chapter 2 through 71. Then the 13th verse in chapter 12 through 19. And the 8th verse through the 12th verse in chapter 13. The first verse of chapter 16 through 3. When properly when properly studied, would be the real elixir
to get rid of this delusion. The tatparya of the above verses is given here under for assimilation and benefit. I think we will do this tatparya tomorrow, all these verses. So basically, this one verse is giving us a roadmap. How to get this avyayam padam? This chapter 15, verse 5 is such a beautiful verse. Nirmana mohajita sangadosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangaihi gacchantya mudha padam avyayam tat. So beautiful this is. So the free from desire to be honored, free from delusion born of ignorance, free from attachment, free
You know,
from
you have to mark this for the quiz. I don't know when we're going to have next one. Maybe we have to do it for Ramana Maharishi's verses.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is what, which one is the 15.5, right?
15.5. It
Oh,
is.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Jai Gurudev, can you explain Avyaya Pada?
Huh? Avyayam padam.
Avyaya Pada.
Avyayam padam. Avyaya is something that does not decline. So
Decline.
avyayam padam is that
I'm
box.
thinking about Parameshwara, right?
Yeah, Parameshwara, Brahma, Atma Jnana, becoming
Brahman.
the Atma. That is avyayam padam. He says earlier, no?
When you said Padam or Padam, I thought it was a Padam.
Padam.
Padam? What
Padam.
what is Padam means? Like, I know Abhyayam
Like position, basically.
Yeah.
That state.
Huh? Collusion?
Position.
That position you reach
space.
where there is
Oh,
no
that position you reach. Okay, Abhyayam. Okay. Mm.
Because earlier he says, no? Yam tad gatva nanivartan tad dhama paramam mama. That space which is where there is a space of no
You
return.
reach.
Once you reach there, there's no return back. That is avyayam padam.
Okay.
That is that space which is above the pairs of opposites, above raga dvesha, above attachment, above the desire for happiness. So basically all of that is that space. In order to get there, what do we have to do? We have to be free from attachment, free from delusion, free from raga dvesha, free from the pangs of pairs of opposites, free from stupidity and delusion.
Yeah. You know, that's about the Sita Prajna from 55 to 71.
Correct. Yeah,
We
it
read
is
that
all
one.
about Sita Prajna. So we'll do that
And,
tomorrow.
yeah.
And I think tomorrow we might, and we'll wind up with the revision of Dwichatvarimshat. I think we'll have another 5 shlokas, I think. 37 is done. So 37 we still have to do. 37, 38, 39, 6 verses are there. We'll mostly we might complete this tomorrow. So what we'll do from day after tomorrow, which is from Tuesday, is with all, if everybody is okay with it, we will do Saptah of Bhagavatam from Tuesday to Tuesday or Tuesday to Monday. We'll see whether we can finish those 7 days of Bhagavatam. And then we can...
that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, before we start Bhagavatam, there are those 8 pages of the PDF that Nana sent with respect to Ramana Maharshi. Who am I? I think we'll do that. We'll do that and then we'll go to Bhagavatam. And
Bhagavatam is getting postponed every time.
Getting
Yeah,
postponed, right?
let's do the Bhagavatam and then do the Kumai, because we want the devotion, the bhakti.
Yeah. But I thought since we're doing Ramana Maharshi's thing, it will complete it if we do the Who Am I and and chant that Upadesha Saram, and then we'll start. Of course, we'll do Bhagavatam, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Nanaji said about Dhyanam also, no? That
That
to read
Dhyanam
those
we'll
verses.
do,
Yeah.
Dr. Savita, after we finish all the 18 chapters.
Okay.
Yeah, that is not that's basically he gave each verse with a with a small tatparya. That is what the Gita Dhyanam is.
Yeah.
So
Gita Dhyanam is the
unless
whole.
we are completing the whole thing, it's no point in going there, because yeah.
That he also has advised. He said he
Yeah, I know.
recommended that we do that
Nana
at the
said
end.
that. Yeah, I thought the mistaken for Gita Dhyanam is we chant one after
Correct.
every every chapter, right? So anyway, he mentioned it, but that's called Prasannatrayam. He put
Prasthanatrayam.
Prasthanatrayam. Yeah, sorry, Prasanna. Yeah.
Okay, good. So we have some homework to do today. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. Let this verse ring in our consciousness, and as far as possible, if we can be free from desire, attachment, pairs of opposites, that'll be good. That will be putting into practice what we have learned. Om loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.